The Montecito mansion is picture perfect. The gardens are immaculate. The cars are sleek. The photos are flawless. But behind the glamour, a single multi-million-dollar question is echoing through the halls of Buckingham Palace and across Hollywood boardrooms. Who, exactly, is footing the bill? Welcome to Royal Report 24/7. If you're fascinated by the true cost of the royal exit, you are in the right place. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, and hit that like button right now. Your support helps us bring you the stories no one else will, and sharing this video lets everyone in on the truth. Because tonight, we're pulling back the velvet curtain on the Sussex economy, a financial puzzle where the pieces just don't seem to add up. Let's be clear from the start. We're not talking about pocket change. We're talking about a lifestyle reportedly requiring tens of millions to sustain. The security, the staff, the travel, the real estate, the wardrobe, the entire global brand operation. The Spotify deal is gone. The Netflix deal, while lucrative, is rumored to be under pressure, with output sparse and reviews mixed. The book Advance for Spare was a one-time injection. And yet, the show goes on. The wheels keep turning. So, where's the money coming from? The answer, it seems, is not from one source, but from a patchwork of financial lifelines, each more intriguing than the last. First, let's talk about the ghost in the machine, the so-called Bank of Dad. For years, rumors have swirled about support from the Duchy of Cornwall, now controlled by Prince William. But that door, we are told by palace insiders, is not just closed, it's been bolted shut. King Charles, however, is a different story. Sources suggest that from his private fortune, a lifeline may have been extended, not for the lifestyle, but as a form of familial support, perhaps for the grandchildren. But this is not the endless well it's often portrayed to be. It's a finite source from a man conscious of his own legacy and the financial stability of the monarchy he heads. Then, we have the venture into the shadowy world of private equity and high net worth friendships. There are whispers, and they're only whispers, of loans and investments fronted by powerful, billionaire friends within their tight-knit Montecito circle. These aren't charitable donations. They're strategic placements, bets on the Sussex brand as a future media empire. But what happens when the brand's value fluctuates? When the headlines turn from triumphant to troubled? These financial backers are not patient philanthropists. They are investors expecting a return. And the pressure to deliver that return, to justify the faith and the funds, must be immense. This leads us to the most speculative yet persistent thread, the notion of advance drawing, of living on borrowed futures. Are they spending money they expect to make from projects that haven't yet been greenlit? Are they leveraging future intellectual property, more books, more documentary series, a lifestyle brand, to secure lines of credit today? It's a high-wire act without a safety net, where the cost of a single commercial failure isn't just professional embarrassment, but potential financial oblivion. And then, there's the grifter narrative itself, a brutal, loaded term thrown at them by critics. It implies a conscious manipulation, a performance of victimhood, and principle funded by unseen, cynical backers. But what if the reality is even more human and more tragic? What if they are not cunning operators, but rather trapped in a gilded cage of their own making? They built a brand on independence and truth-telling, but that brand is astronomically expensive to maintain. Every photo op, every public appearance, every item of clothing is now a commercial asset that must be leveraged. The very act of living has become a content strategy. The grift, then, may not be a sinister plot, but a desperate, rolling improvisation to fund the extravagant stage upon which their new lives must be performed. They have to keep the mansion pristine for the shots that sell the story. They have to dress the part to stay in the conversation. They have to travel to maintain their global relevance. It's a self-perpetuating cycle where the cost of proving you're successful is what threatens to bankrupt you. Look at the recent launch of the American Riviera Orchard brand. The jam sold out, yes, but the scale of that operation, the website, the packaging, the PR rollout, would have cost a fortune up front. Where did that capital come from? Was it reinvested Spotify money? A personal loan? A silent partner? Each possibility paints a different picture of their stability. The starkest contrast is, as always, with the working royals. While William and Catherine are criticized for the cost of renovations, that money comes from a publicly scrutinized sovereign grant or their own clearly defined private income. Their financial model is stable, if controversial. The Sussex model is entrepreneurial, volatile, and shrouded in the secrecy of private contracts and NDAs. This is the central tension. They left the royal family to escape its controls, but they entered a world with even more ruthless financial masters. The market, the investors, the audience. The Queen's permission was replaced by the fickle approval of Netflix subscribers and jam buyers. So who is funding the lifestyle? The evidence suggests it's a precarious consortium, a concerned father's finite support, cautious, results-driven media executives, demanding private investors, and, perhaps most of all, the Sussexes themselves drawing against their own future, hoping their story never loses its value. They are not grifters in the dark. They are the CEOs of a publicly traded version of their own lives, watching the share price fluctuate with every headline, knowing that if the market crashes, the mansion, the security, the entire dream could vanish. It's a chilling thought. They fought for freedom, only to find themselves in a gilded prison of their own design, where the locks are financial, and the key is perpetual public fascination. If you found this deep dive into the high-stakes economics of exile compelling, make sure you never miss our next investigation. The truth is our only agenda here at Royal Report 24/7. Subscribe for more, leave a like to support our work, and share this with someone who follows the real story behind the crown. The finance wars are just beginning.